If a landlord believes that a tenant is doing something illegal in the rental home, it's obvious they can move to evict them. But as with all landlord and tenant issues, proper procedure must be followed, and there are steps tenants can take to avoid eviction.
A landlord can serve an N6 whenever they have a reason to believe that there's illegal activity happening on the residential premises. There doesn't need to be a criminal charge or a criminal conviction, although that would certainly help their case.
Carly Wilson from Don Valley Community Legal Services explains that an N6 notice to end tenancy can be served if the alleged activity is happening on the residential premises and was committed by either a tenant, occupant, or someone they allowed to be on the premises.
It also has to be serious enough that it either substantially interferes with the reasonable enjoyment of other tenants or that it affects the character of the premises.
When a tenant is given an N6, the termination date of the tenancy depends on the reason chosen on the form. Reason 1 deals with drugs and trafficking, Reason 2 is for any other illegal act or business, and Reason 3 is for misrepresenting income in a rent-geared-to-income unit.
The termination date for drugs and trafficking is 10 days after they serve the notice, whereas for anything else it's 20 days.
Tenants can choose not to move out and wait for a hearing at the Landlord and Tenant Board. Wilson says it's important to understand that illegal doesn't always have to be criminal.
Some examples that I've seen before have been somebody teaching music lessons out of their apartment is technically a bylaw violation if they aren't zoned properly, or at least a landlord can claim it is. Another type would be having your dog off leash on the residential premises. Technically a bylaw violation depending on where you live, any kind of course, even if you're teaching it online. If it's a violation of a bylaw, then it could be argued that that is illegal activity. Now, whether or not those result in an actual eviction at a hearing is a lot less likely.
Unlike some other LTB forms, the N6 does not have a grace period to correct the problem and cannot be voided. Wilson advises that nevertheless, tenants should take some proactive steps.
If you can find a way to de-escalate by correcting a behavior that you didn't know was wrong or you should have known was wrong, do that. And if it is something that you can stop doing, even though that won't void the notice, once it goes to a hearing, that significantly improves your chances.
She also says coming to a compromise may be better than going to a hearing, but it's best to seek legal advice to understand the seriousness of the issues described on the N6 and decide what action to take. Dilshad Burman, City News.